What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out. Now, with this video, we're jumping into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, issue number 2. Now, if you didn't catch issue number 1, be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything going on in this line. And this is one you're not going to want to miss because, hands down, this is the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic you will ever pick up. With a story by Kevin Eastman, Peter Lade, and Tom Waltz, published by IDW Publishing. And the last issue, what we saw was Michelangelo revealed as the Last Ronin. And I have to admit that that is extremely fitting. Of all the brothers that you would want to use for this specific line, Michelangelo, I think, is the one that's going to get those feelings really in there. Because seeing his personality change, seeing him become this very depressed, very PTSD and trauma-ridden individual, I think it really pulls on the heartstrings more than any of the other brothers. But we found the Last Ronin waking up injured, dang near dead, and he finds himself in front of none other than April. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright guys, so as we jump into part 2, we are picking up with April waking up from a nightmare. A nightmare that is remembering everything that happened. All of the trauma that they have been through. Because these aren't just nightmares, this is the reality that she lived through. And that's what takes us to the past. With Raph breaking into this room, throwing everything to the side and telling them that they need to prepare for what's about to happen. And this is where we see Donnie and Mikey come into the room. Both of them carrying Splinter because they were ambushed. The Foot Clan had attacked them, believing that there had been a truce, that the truce had held for quite some time. But something has happened. For some reason, the Foot Clan has decided that they are no longer going to abide by this, and they surprise attack them. They ambush them, and Splinter is in extremely bad shape. And with him laid out on the table, there is blood everywhere. April and Casey, they don't really know what to do at this point. They're doing their best to bandage him, but he truly does need a doctor. He needs somebody that can really fix these wounds. And if they don't, he will sit here and bleed out on this table. Now, of course, both Casey and Raph, they don't want to get at it. Raph wants to get out there and just beat the crap out of some Foot Clan members. His anger, his ability to reach that level of anger so quickly, of course he's going to have that when Splinter is laying out bleeding on the table right now. But with Leo walking into the room, he tells everybody that they need to stand down, that they need time to be able to regroup. They can't just go in there all hot and heavy, ready to fight the Foot Clan. They don't know what they're going to run into. They don't know what to expect. They could very well be running into yet another trap. And so they need to take a step back. They need to reanalyze the situation. But as they begin to prep Splinter to leave this place, to take him to Dr. Lee so he can get some proper treatment, with everybody lacking any kind of morale, with everybody's heads hanging, nobody saw it when Raph made his way outside. Because at the end of the day, you can't stop him when he has his mind set on something, especially when his anger has reached this level. But that's what's going to take us to present day. With April sitting up in her bed, we see that this war has taken its toll on her, with her missing an arm and a leg, being a double amputee. As she sits in her bed, she calls out to Casey, asking for a little bit of help getting to her arm and leg. Now, picking up with Mikey, he is sitting at the table, getting ready to make some tea, but we see him sitting down with his brothers. Now, not sure if this is part of his training where he was able to learn the ability to talk to them in the afterlife, or this is simply him going through a psychotic break, him seeing his brothers, being able to talk to them, have arguments with them. This could simply be his way of coping with their deaths. And as he's sitting here talking to them, he begins to argue with his brothers because they're judging him, or at least that's how he feels like, because they're telling him that it was a bad idea to go in like he did. Not only that, but then to try to take your life after you failed. Feeling like he is being judged by everyone and everything, he takes the tea kettle and he throws it across the room, only to look up and there be nobody around. He finds himself completely alone, because that's the reality. Nobody else but him can see his brothers. But still, after he makes yet another pot of tea, he comes back more calmly, and he tells these ghosts that he is going to finish what was started, what Master Splinter had raised them to do, to get vengeance for everyone that he loves. Now that is what's going to pick us up with Raph, and he is currently making his way through the city. Now remember, this is in the past, directly after Master Splinter was laid up on the table bleeding out, completely infuriated, completely driven by his rage. He makes his way through the city. He makes his way to where the Foot Clan are currently hiding out, currently being led by Karai. She is currently yelling at all the Foot Clan members, yelling at them because they failed in their mission to take down the mutants. In breaking this peace treaty, she knew that there would be war. She knew the consequences if the mutants did not die. Only she did not expect it to happen so quickly. She did not expect the retaliation to come so quickly. And as everybody is staring, looking at her, one by one, we see Raph taking them out. He is not letting up one bit. Cutting, slicing, making his way through. Obviously at this point, they've recognized that he is here, and everyone is descending upon him. From arrows to spears to swords, he is getting stabbed, poked, prodded by everything, but nothing is stopping him. Breaking through any kind of line of defense they might have, using his sai and slicing, stabbing, getting rid of every single Foot Clan member that stands in his way. Telling Karai that she needs to stop hiding behind all of her soldiers and come face him. And that's exactly what she does. And as the fight breaks out between these two, they are going toe-to-toe with one another, with both of them getting some good hits in. This fight makes its way into the ocean. Going off the side of the dock, they both fall into the water. And as they sink to the bottom, still continuing to fight one another, we see her take a blade and shove it into the chest of Ralph. At the same time, he takes one of his sides and jams it directly into her back. And with blood pouring out of both of them, we see them both float lifeless as they slowly descend to the bottom. This is the day that the first brother was taken. This is the day that Raph dies. Now that's what's going to take us to present day. And we have Mikey and April sitting down having a cup of tea. And they're really just catching up on everything that they've missed, because they haven't seen each other in quite some time. He definitely hasn't seen her with her amputations, and she simply lets us know that this is more or less a souvenir from the last time they had seen each other. So whatever happened the last time that they were together, something happened so catastrophic that they were separated, they never saw each other again, and April lost 2 limbs in the process. But right now, the word on the street is that he has rattled some cages up on the surface. And she also lets him know that he's lucky. You know, she's not any kind of Donatello type, but at the same time, she can understand that over the years, it appears his mutation has made him stronger. It's made him bigger, stronger, faster. And so that fall, that's probably why he survived it. And not only that, he is healing at a crazy rate. With his head still being a little bit fuzzy, most of his wounds have healed up at this point. But in the midst of their conversation, April hollers for Casey, completely throwing Mikey off, not knowing that Casey is still alive. He finds out very quickly that it's not the Casey he was thinking of. This is Casey Marie Jones, the daughter of both April and Casey, named after Casey because he is no longer with us. Now, of course, little Casey Marie, not necessarily little, she's definitely in her older teens, if not, her early 20s. She is the one that saved Mikey, that brought him here. Not only that, she's been infatuated with her and the Turtles her entire life. April has been telling her stories since she was knee-high, of all the Turtles, of Splinter, of everybody. Believing him to be the funny one, she's definitely seeing that there's a personality change. He's no longer that funny-go-lucky, go-happy Michelangelo anymore. And so obviously, there is a lot to catch up on. And that's what takes us to Oroku, currently up in his tower, and he is training with a ton of his foot soldiers. Though I wouldn't necessarily call it training, he's really just beating the crap out of all of his guys, and they are no match for him. And really, we're getting a glimpse of his personality, a philanthropist, a man with too much money, too much ego, narcissistic, sociopathic, and his last captain, for his failure, he literally beheaded him and let the birds pick at his skull. And so we're seeing how absolutely brutal this man is, how he rules with an iron fist, like any dictator. But we know that he has one goal in mind, and it is to find that mutant turtle, believing all of them to be dead, believing that he took all of them out years ago. Seeing this one resurface, he is more than ready to take it out, more than ready to do what is necessary to finish this family feud, to end this blood feud once and for all. He has to kill the Last Ronin. Now this is when we pick up with Mikey and Casey. We learn a little bit of where they're at. This is referred to as rock bottom, because this city has broken down into layers ever since the Foot Clan took over. You have a bottom, a middle, a top. And then you have the underground. Now the underground is a reference to a resistance group. Individuals that are fighting against this tyrannical leadership. Fighting against all of the Foot Clan. Doing their best to take back their freedom. And for years, Casey has been training. And Kindu and many other forms, many other arts, she has been practicing for years and years and years, trying to gather and get the skills that the turtles once had. But as these two sit and talk, Casey's very interested on who he is and where he has been. And so he breaks it down for us and lets us know that after everything that happened, he found his way across the ocean, winding up in some mountains. He was definitely out of place, never setting foot on snow-covered mountains before. This is all new to him, especially being a turtle from the city. And as he made this journey, he realized he wasn't going to be able to make it. And so he found a spot where he believed this could be his end, where he could die and just be left here. But after a day, a week, a month, after so much time goes by, his mutation does not let him die. He sits there more or less in a hibernation, and as the snow begins to melt, spring became. We see the new season arise, and because of this, he gets up. He decides that it's not his end. He begins to train in all of his father's arts. He begins to meditate. He spent years believing that this is where he's supposed to be, a reward for all of the trauma and turmoil that he has been through everything he has suffered and sacrificed, believing this to be the end game reward. But it's not that, because it only took a matter of time for people to be able to find him. And as they came, they tortured him, they tied him up, they beat him, they attempted to kill him. But being the turtle he is, he beat the crap out of all of them, realizing and taking this as a sign that civilization, humanity would never leave him alone, that there are still things that he has to do back home, realizing that his destiny, his true destiny, it laid on the battlefield. That is where his end would be. And so with him being the last of his family, with him being the last of his clan, it is up to him, the Last Ronin, to fulfill his family's honor, to restore their name to their rightful place, to bring revenge down on the Foot Clan. And so making his way back to civilization, that's where issue 1 picks up. It picks up with him getting back and immediately going in for the attack, without doing any kind of real recon or anything like that. One mission in mind, one goal in mind, and had no intention of making it out alive. But now that he has, now it is time to reevaluate everything. But it means that he still has work to do. And of course, Casey Marie, she wants to help. She wants to help him in taking down the Foot Clan, working with the underground and doing all of this whole time. She feels like she's ready. Now, of course, Mikey doesn't want to involve her in any of this, especially with how dangerous it is, how many people they have lost already. But Casey Marie doesn't give him an option. Much like her father, much like her mother, she is not taking no for an answer. Now, as they are having this discussion, April, she is getting something out of a safe, something that she has been keeping safe for quite some time. And as she opens up that safe, we see the head of Fugitoid. We see the head of Professor Honeycutt. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Now, like I've said before, this is hands down probably one of the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lines out there, if not the best, and will be the best for years to come. Kevin Eastman, Laird, all of them have really outdone themselves with this truly amazing story. You know, like I've said before, I love the dark, I love the gritty, and that's exactly what this story is. It is full of suffering, of turmoil, of depression, of pain, of PTSD, of trauma, of people just trying to make it through their lives, trying to survive after everything has been taken from them. I believe the artwork, the writing, all of it, it's literally a masterpiece. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe it's just because I grew up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I absolutely loved them throughout all of my adolescence. So growing up, after going through all the trauma and the PTSD that I have gone through, reading a story like this, I can truly connect with it in a way that most comics I don't connect with. Because at the end of the day, the way they write this, you can understand that they understand sacrifice, they understand turmoil, they understand pain in a way a lot of writers just can't capture that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, please do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.